Revolut, the UK-based fintech firm, is in the process of launching its own crypto token, which is actually quite notable. Now, Revolut is among a crop of fintech players such as PayPal, Robinhood that offer easy access to crypto buying and selling, but this is a bit more. This is something akin to maybe the exchange token jumping into the land of fintech, which I think is really interesting and suggests that fintech interest in the world of crypto is certainly here. I'm going to toss this to Will straight off the bat. Your initial thoughts on this Revolut scoop?
Yeah, I've kind of like a weird out there thought, but I'm just going to throw it out anyways. There's been a lot of haterade against tokens for the last few years, but I think we're seeing that corporations kind of like the idea of having their own token for whatever reason that is. That might be like the weird backdoor way that we see tokens kind of get into mainstream. It's not through just people kind of wanting to have a token for themselves or some sort of social token. It's that a company has more control over its cash flows and it's over its own business when it can issue its own token and provide services through that token. So Revolut going through with a token like this, if they choose to continue pursuing it, that kind of speaks to how tokenization can kind of be like a part of the corporate world in the next 5 to 10 years. That's my only insights for now. I know Revolut is a huge banking firm in Europe, and so pretty interesting to see them kind of get into this tokenization world itself. But I don't have very many thoughts past that. Naomi, I'll throw it to you though.
Yeah, I think I saw Jen's hand go up.
Will just hates
I missed a hand.
I saw that.
I gave it to you for the first one.
And then he just
all right, I'll throw it to you and then I'll get in there.
Yeah, I think this is really cool. I mean, Zach, you mentioned Robinhood and PayPal, and this kind of sets them apart from some of their competitors. When I was reading the story, I was thinking about like, how would you explain a token to someone who's kind of new to the space or someone who's on the Revolut app who's just starting to dabble in crypto? And could we explain it as something similar to your credit card points, a token that you can earn and put towards fees and trading, and could potentially also bring other benefits that we don't know about yet? Is that how you would explain it to someone who's new to crypto?
Yeah, we don't know the details beyond the fact that it's not going to be a stable coin, but I think that's a great way to explain it, Jen. I mean, airline miles are a great example, right? That's an example of a digital currency. It's not a cryptocurrency because it doesn't exist outside of the walled garden of a particular airline, but I think that's a great example, right? So like if this is the airline mile equivalent of a fintech app that you use and love every day that gets you access to things that you wouldn't otherwise have access to, I can see why that would have mainstream appeal. And I think maybe we're going to see some more experimentation around this from other big companies such as Revolut. I'll toss it to you, Naomi.
Yeah, it's an interesting kind of paradigm shift because these digital assets are not new. We've talked about it on the show before. Like, Zach, you're absolutely right. Airline miles, Starbucks points, all of these companies issue their own digital versions of value storage as part of their walled garden, and they make it redeemable for services or discounts or whatever. But the difference is that in the past, these have been completely controlled, and they're kind of like, they're incentivizing repeat customers. They want people to come back. So they say, well, come back, we'll give you these tokens and these discounts and whatnot. But it's interesting that they could kind of control that and it's directly redeemable for a certain value. When you have cryptocurrencies, they're tradable on the open market. That value fluctuates. Like, it's a very different paradigm that we're shifting into as companies start to explore this tokenization world more and more. It's not necessarily like stable in that before, frequent flyer miles would buy you a certain percentage of a trip or perhaps a whole trip. And it was very specific how much they're worth. The same with credit card points. It's very specific how much cash back you get with these. If these are fluctuating on an open market, then this is a variable amount depending on how much people want these tokens. Like, it's just a very interesting shift that we're seeing. And I wonder whether this is getting into a very complex territory that perhaps these companies don't quite realize. They're focused on their products. They want to be streamlined and laser focused on making whatever it is, whatever product they're focused on. And suddenly they're in this world of a fluctuating cryptocurrency that may or may not buy a certain amount of goods. It's just a big shift for them. They're going to have to become experts in the kind of the economics of all of this. And maybe they're just not going to become experts, and maybe something else happens entirely. But it is pretty interesting to see those walled gardens get taken down and to see this transferability. I think that integration of all kinds of industries and countries and people across the globe is really cool, and what will be a defining aspect, of the decades ahead.